Authority Member Buchanan.
Here.
Authority Member Fullenwider.
Here.
Authority Member Schock.
Here.
Authority Member Ravindran.
Here.
Thank you. Will you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 3 is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion? Oh, no motion on that one. Okay. 4, minutes to be approved.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes.
I'll second.
A motion to accept the minutes for July 10, 2019, and a second from Authority Member Buchanan. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 5 on our agenda is public comment. Has there been anyone to sign up? No one to sign up? Is there anyone in the audience who came to speak on something that is not on the agenda? Seeing none, we will move on to general business. First up under general business is item 6A, number 19006, motion to continue show cause hearing for the Boardroom Inc., doing business as the Boardroom, 51 West Dry Creek Court, Littleton, Colorado, to October 9th, 2019. Do we need any presentation from prosecutor on this one?
No, this is actually brought to you administratively. The licensee opted not to enter into a stipulation, but because of the time frame, we didn't have enough time to legally post the premise or post in the local paper to meet the September 11th date.
Sounds good.
I move to continue the public show cause hearing for the Boardroom Inc., doing business as the Boardroom, 51 West Dry Creek Court, Littleton, Colorado, previously scheduled for Wednesday, September 11th to Wednesday, October 9th, 2019.
A second?
We have a motion to continue and a second. Will the clerk please, or we will vote on this using our switches.
The vote is 5 in favor. The motion carries unanimously.
All right. Moving on to our business, our next item is 6B, a Littleton Authority number 003, preliminary hearing, Shanker Inc., doing business as Santa Fe Spirits, 6023 South Santa Fe Drive, Littleton, Colorado. This is a preliminary hearing. And we will take a presentation from the prosecutor first.
Thank you. Good evening. Dahlia Olsher-Tannen. I'm the prosecutor for the City of Littleton. So this came to me, the board found probable cause in this case, and this came to me about a month ago. And I have done, I've spoken with defense counsel in great detail regarding possible mitigation. I've reviewed all of the statutes, rules, the Littleton Municipal Code, and we have come to a stipulation. This case involved an underage operative. This was a compliance check by the Littleton Police Department, where they essentially, a young lady who was 16 went into the liquor store with a plainclothes police officer. She selected a Strawberita, a Bud Light Strawberita, and placed it onto the counter. And the employee at the liquor store did not ask her for identification. She paid for the drink, and she exited the store. So those are the facts of the case. I also looked at the prior history of any type of violations by the liquor store. I believe the last violation was in 2013. So that also went into my decision of what my offer was to defense counsel. So I spoke with him, and I ultimately, we agreed on a stipulation of a 10-day suspension with 5 days suspended and a fine in lieu. And so the fine in lieu, and is 20, obviously 20% of the gross sales. It was the dates of May 26, 2019 to May 30th, 2019, which is a Sunday through a Thursday. That Monday happened to be Memorial Day. So I believe that the total fine is around $3,900, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
So Mike, the question, so it's a 10-day suspension of which 5 days would be the actual suspension and then the fine in lieu of. Is that right?
Yes, so 10-day suspension.
Okay.
5 days of actual suspension, and
Okay.
5 days held in abeyance.
Right.
For 1 year, and then they're able to pay a fine in lieu of the
Understood.
suspension.
Okay.
And so that fine in lieu ended up being the dates that I told you. We calculated that, including the date of May 30th, 2019, which was the date of violation.
Right.
And then we went a couple days before that to add up to 5 days.
Yeah, sorry, I was just making sure I got that.
It may have been how I stated it initially.
Or
So
how-
hopefully that
how I heard it.
clarified.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we've had one of these. So 5 days held in abeyance means that if there's another violation within that time period of 1 year, that becomes active and that goes immediately into effect, I believe.
That 5 days plus whatever they get on the next one, if they do anything within a year, correct?
The violation in 2013, was that also part of a compliance check?
I don't believe so.
I vaguely remember, and I'm pretty sure it's not a compliance check.
I believe that, I don't have the exact facts of what that was. I just have probable cause found, preliminary hearing scheduled, show cause scheduled, and then there was a stipulation. So I don't know what the facts of that case were, but essentially, the state statute, the look back is 5 years. I believe that would still be more than 5 years. I'm only mentioning that, in terms of mitigation for why I offered what I did.
Thank you. Chair will recognize Defense Counsel. Would you please introduce yourself?
Certainly. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is John Stonebreaker, law firm Dill & Dill, appearing on behalf of Santa Fe Liquors. Number one, we'd like to apologize for our presence here this evening. My client is regretful that his organization failed the compliance check. Otherwise, the statements of counsel are correct. The statements surrounding the violation are correct. The violation in 2013, number one, I'd ask the board to note that it's beyond the 5-year period, which, if you believe the state regulations, is the maximum time that a violation counts, if you will. Sir, that violation was sale to a visibly intoxicated person, and that violation was stipulated to in 2013. My client, Arminder Purewal, is here. If the board has any questions of him, he would be happy to speak to the board. After apologizing for the violation, I would simply like to note that my client's been in business for 12 years, and this was the first compliance check that we struggled with in the 12-year period of time. And I would just ask the board to note that. Otherwise, the statements of counsel relative to the violation and the penalty are correct. And we do stipulate along the lines described by the prosecutor.
Questions from the authority for Defense Counsel?
Is the employee still employed?
Yes, sir, he is. He's generally a good employee, generally does a good job. He did have a mental lapse and commit the violation. We suspended him without pay for 2 days and retrained him, and then also did outside training for the retraining through the Colorado Licensed Beverage Association, which is a state-sanctioned in-person training program.
Is that for all the employees? Did all the employees do that or just?
Yes, sir. All of the current employees went through that. We have a new employee starting. So he'll go through the training before he's allowed to function on his own in the store. And so we have an ongoing in-house training, and then we're going to the outside training on a going forward basis in addition to that for all new employees.
Thank you.
So we have upgraded, if you will, our training as a result of this infraction.
This question is for the city attorney. Has the penalty been paid?
Not.
Vice Chair Webb, the penalty will not be paid until after the authority agrees to the stipulation, and then the licensee will be notified in writing that they have 10 days to provide receipts, and then we confirm the amount, and then they pay.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for the prosecutor, for city attorney, for defense counsel from the board? Is there a motion?
I actually have a question for, is this penalty, we haven't done many of these, is this consistent with what we've done in the past? Is this?
In my recollection, this is consistent. It might be a little bit more. I sometimes feel like I remember a 7 abeyance.
That's what I remember
3
in the
active,
past.
as standard. And if we have a motion, we can maybe talk about
Sure.
mitigating and extenuating circumstances. City Clerk?
Chair Levere, you had a question regarding state.
About,
Your question, could you repeat it, please?
did I have a question?
I believe Mr. Buchanan was asking whether or not this was within kind of
Whether it
the
was
sentencing
consistent with-
guidelines.
Well, whether it was consistent with what the authority has done in the past in similar circumstances.
And I'll have to defer to the city clerk. I would say that this sentence is within the local licensing authorities' guidelines for a first offense within the past 5 years.
Correct, and these were pulled directly from the guidelines that were adopted for the authority. I believe we did them in 2012 or 2013.
I'll make a motion. I move to approve the stipulation agreement and order between the city prosecutor and the licensee. In Section 5C of the stipulation, the period of the proposed suspension for purposes of calculating the fine in lieu of suspension shall be May 26, 2019 through May 30th, 2019 inclusive. The show cause hearing date, originally scheduled for September 11th, 2019, is hereby vacated.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I would like to say that I like that they've done some training and that the plaintiff is showing remorse for this happening.
Mr. Chairman, before we vote, let me state on the record that I'm familiar with this law firm. I office in their building. I'm familiar with Mr. Stonebreaker. That doesn't preclude me from voting on this motion, but I want it on the record.
Noted. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we will vote. Please vote now.
The vote is 5 in favor. The motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you. We will do our dead level best not to reappear under these circumstances, and we appreciate your time and attention.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on to number 7, public hearings. We will move on to 7A, a Resolution 6-2019, LLA Resolution 6-2019, approving a new liquor license application for New Sushi, Inc., doing business as Maki Sushi Company, 5950 South Platte Canyon Road, Suite D23, Littleton, Colorado. At this time, we will ask for the applicant to come up and present their application, petitions if they have them, and any other answer questions from the authority. Hi. Would you do me a favor and state your name for the record?
Sean Crasland.
Sean?
Yeah.
And can you are the applicant or are you counsel for the applicant?
I'm one of the owners at the
One of the
business.
owners?
Yeah.
And can you raise your right hand? We usually swear people in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give before this authority is truthful?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much. And then please make sure that you speak into the microphone, as that is our, we have people watching at home, and thank you. And so your business is Maki Sushi Company?
Maki Sushi Co.
And where will this be located?
5950 South Platte Canyon Road in Littleton.
And is that the former place where My Favorite Muffin was located?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you'll have an indoor space and probably an outdoor patio space?
I'm sorry?
Will you have an indoor space and an outdoor patio space?
Yes, we are.
And I see you've submitted application, had background check. Can you tell me a little bit about your history, your family's history with restaurants, with having a liquor license? Have you had a liquor license in the past?
Yes, I have. So we had a sushi restaurant for almost 12 years. And then we have like 7 restaurants right now. So I've been dealing with like liquor license for the past like 12 years.
And was that here in Denver?
Yeah, it's out in Colorado.
Oh, in Colorado? Is that restaurant still open?
Go Fish Sushi, yeah.
Yeah. So this will be a second location, or
No, this is gonna be a different restaurant.
very different?
It's gonna be sushi too, but it's gonna be like a modern upscale sushi restaurant.
Okay. And then, did you have petitions done for the liquor application? Petitioning to show needs and desires of the neighborhood?
Wait, for this one?
Yes.
That I'm not sure. My business partner has been taking care of.
I see
like,
Ms.
this
Johnson right
restaurant.
behind you here.
Yeah.
Would you like to have her present her findings?
Good evening.
Hi, Carol. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this authority is truthful?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. We did the petitions initially back in May when it was first submitted and we first had the boundaries. But I don't believe there was anything that, just because of their hearing delays, that would affect anything differently. We did the businesses primarily on both sides of the street in the plazas, their plaza and the plaza right across from them primarily, and up the road a little bit. That was basically the extent of the businesses. And we did the residents in 3 or 4 different neighborhoods adjoining to the east and both sides to the north of the location, north of, I brained it, the street is a Bellevue.
Bowles and...
Bowles.
Platte
Sorry.
Canyon.
Got my B's mixed up. So we did a total of 397 door knocks, of which 112 people signed the petition, 40 declined to sign, 19 were ineligible, and 238 did not answer the door. There are a lot of townhomes, condos, apartments, which sometimes put the ratio a little higher with the percentage that we do get, but it was really a pretty good result, because 1 in 4 is what we try to hopefully get. So we had 88 residents and 21 business owners or managers in support for 109 or 97.3%.